So Arsenal couldn't quite make it 4 wins in a row in the Premier League last night, what turned out to be a very poor performance. This is the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace match review. Hello, I'm Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. In this video, I'm going to look back at last night's very poor goalless draw at the Emirates against Crystal Palace. Just before I do that, I want to make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. If you're new here and you like some positive Arsenal content, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. Please give this video a thumbs up as well. If you've got any comments at all about the game last night, about the performance, or anything else to do with Arsenal, please drop them in the comments box below, as I do love to hear from you guys as well. So as expected, there were a few changes to the lineup last night after Saturday's FA Cup victory over Newcastle, and of course even from the previous Premier League game against West Bromwich Albion, of course on January the 2nd. Most of the changes actually were in defence. So what we had was Leno was in goal, obviously with no real competition at the moment. Bellerin was back at right back, having missed the Newcastle game, and then the two centre backs were David Luiz and Rob Holding. Of course, Rob Holding was rested for the FA Cup game, but he was back for this game. The big miss, of course, was at left back. Kieran Tierney was carrying an injury, so Maitland-Niles came in and played in that position in this particular game. In midfield, it was the old pairing again of Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos, who of course done well last season and have had their moments this season. They were back paired in the midfield. And then the front four was the same front four that of course played so well against West Bromwich Albion, I say in their last league game. So it was Aubameyang was on the left-hand side, Bukayo Saka was on the right, Emile Smith-Rowe was in the number 10 position with Lacazette through the middle as a centre forward. So it was a team that was largely as expected. I think Kieran Tierney obviously was the big miss at left back. And of course, Gabriel Martinelli, of course, is injured. On the bench, of course, was Thomas Partey making his comeback following his injury. Great to see him back in the squad. And of course, Gabriel as well following his illness. So it was good to see those two on the bench. Still no Balogun though. Of course, the rumours are that he is going to be leaving the club. And that seems to be more and more likely now, as he's not included in any matchday squad, is he? So it was Eddie Nketiah was the backup centre forward, alongside players such as Nicolas Pepe, Willian, Joe Willock, and I say Gabriel and Thomas Partey. So the performance itself then really poor, wasn't it, overall from Arsenal? Not enough quality in the final third of the pitch. Now, a lot of people have been saying that it was that Kieran Tierney's miss was massive in this game, certainly from getting forward, getting balls into the box. And of course it was. But if we've got down to the stage where we're blaming the fact that we failed to beat Crystal Palace at home on the fact that our left back wasn't playing, then that either shows exactly how bad our problems have got, or maybe actually it's a little bit of an overreaction. Let's be honest, Kieran Tierney, as well as he's played, was playing in the team on a regular basis in October, November and the early part of December, when we were producing performances very similar to last night. So that on its own was not the reason why we failed to win this game. Yes, of course we missed him, we missed his delivery from the left, but ultimately over the course of the 90 minutes, that wasn't the reason at all why we failed to win this game. There seems to be a lot of issues in the team. I think maybe a lot of it comes down to the fact that Mikel Arteta is a very good, I would consider him to be like a whiteboard coach. I think he's got some great ideas, and I think in theory they're fantastic, but when it comes down to it on the pitch, either the players aren't good enough to be able to carry them out, or maybe the ideas aren't being experimented with quite enough in training to really carry them off, because we do seem as though we're lacking something. You can see, if you look, just take for example our set pieces, our corners. We've got a new corner coach now, and set piece coach who's giving us ideas, and you can tell that these ideas on the training pitch, they're trying to put them into place on the pitch, aren't they? But what's happening is we've got a corner, for example, and we've either got everybody crowded in around the 6-yard box or everybody crowded around on the edge of the box. This is clearly worked on routine, but then when the ball comes into the box, they don't seem to be able to take to the next stage. We're not attacking the ball enough. We're not making the right runs to attack the ball. And unfortunately, this is where it seems to be going on throughout the whole team as well. I don't think it's just on the set pieces. I think it's in our play in general. I think we're getting into certain areas of the pitch with the ball, and then either the final quality isn't quite there, or maybe the players aren't really sure what they need to do at that point because they're not being given that freedom. The few games that we won over Christmas were great performances, but let's face it, it was only really the performance against Chelsea at home that was exceptional. West Bromwich Albion, a very, very poor team. Brighton was a solid away performance, but again, that's away from home. At home now, we've only won one of our last 7 games in the Premier League. Any team that comes to the Emirates with a low block, we struggle to break down. It was the same against Newcastle at the weekend, wasn't it, in the FA Cup? In the end, at 90 minutes, like last night, it was 0-0. Yes, in the end, we managed to wear Newcastle down in extra time and get the win. And obviously in the Premier League, you don't get that opportunity. If you don't win the game in 90 minutes, that's it. And I thought that's what happened last night. And you could see the problems are there quite clearly. If anybody thought that those 3 wins that we had over Christmas were the turning point and that we were going to go on a run of another 5 or 6, 7 wins and climb back up the league, you're clearly mistaken, because this team has not got the quality, unfortunately. We don't have the players, and we don't have enough strength in depth either. I mean, as I said before, having Thomas Partey back in the squad is going to be a massive difference. He did come on about 25 minutes to go in this game. He didn't have much of an impact, but you can see he's not played for a while. It was good just to get him on the pitch and get back into the swing of things again. He did okay, he won a few good tackles, and he did some neat and tidy passing, but he didn't have the influence that we're hoping. But then it's not surprising, is it, when he's not played for such a long time. Of course, other substitutions didn't really cover themselves in glory. Nicolas Pepe was the first one to come on. He had about half an hour in this game, did very, very little again. Surely this is becoming the biggest waste of money in the club's history. And it was put into more stark contrast, wasn't it, with Wilfried Zaha on the Crystal Palace team, who was a constant menace, a constant threat. So yeah, very, very poor performance overall from Arsenal. We started badly and we had a good spell at the start of the second half and we put them under a lot of pressure, but I can't remember their goalkeeper having to make a save that was any more than routine. And unfortunately, if that's all you're going to produce in a Premier League game, then unfortunately you are not going to win, are you? And that's exactly what's happened last night. So very, very poor overall. You can see that the squad needs a massive overhaul. There's too many players there that are just not good enough, that are not playing well enough. Until we can make significant changes in the transfer market, we're going to find ourselves having to suffer games like this for a long time to come. In terms of man of the match, then, yeah, it's not going to be easy, is it, to pick a man of the match? I mean, I think one of the reasons for that is because it was a difficult game, wasn't it? Crystal Palace played well, let's be honest. I don't think any of our players played particularly badly. Maitland-Niles didn't have his best game, but then he's not played for a while and he was playing in an unfamiliar position, I suppose. So we can maybe make allowances for him. But other than him, I don't think anybody was particularly bad, but equally nobody was that great either. I thought Bert Leno made an important save, didn't he, in the first half? That header from Ben Teke, he got across well and a strong left hand to push that away, and he reacted well to the rebound from Zaha as well. So I think Bert Leno again looked solid. We still haven't conceded a goal, has he, in 2020 now? So that's a good run for him. He's looking a lot more back to his best. He had a decent game, I thought. The defence were not really stretched too much, were they? You know, Palace did cause us a few problems here and there, but I thought defensively we were pretty sound. In the forward areas of the pitch, we were really poor. Smith Rowe tried his best. He was trying to get into the pockets of space. He wasn't really getting the ball. And when he did, he was quite often crowded out. And the same can be said for all our other attacking players, really. Aubameyang was quite anonymous as well. He didn't really play that well, did he? And Bukayo Saka looked tired, if we're honest. He didn't really have as much impact in this game as he has done maybe in previous games. Even later on when he was switched over to the left, he still didn't really get into the game. And Lacazette wasn't given anything, was he? He was feeding off scraps again, like he was for quite a few games, of course, back in the tail end of last year. So it wasn't a great performance, but I thought the midfield was our strongest area of this team last night, actually. I thought Dani Ceballos had a decent game, but for me, the man of the match has got to go to Granit Xhaka. He gets a lot of stick, actually, understandably so sometimes, but I think that his performances on the pitch generally are pretty solid. He's certainly playing well at the moment, and last night I thought he was brilliant. He got around the pitch up and down, he was making brilliant blocks, brilliant tackles, winning the ball back, and he showed some decent quality with his passing again as well. It didn't always come off, but at least he was trying to make them passes, at least he was trying to make things happen, and I thought it was a good performance from him. So for me, the man of the match last night is going to go to Granit Xhaka. So yeah, another poor performance really from Arsenal, wasn't it? A little bit back to before Christmas. It was that kind of similar performance. We lacked a spark. Yes, we had extra time against Newcastle at the weekend, and you could look to blame that as well. But how many of those players played extra time, played the full game? I think it was only Aubameyang that played 120 minutes at the weekend. Everybody else either didn't play at all or they came on or went off. So I don't think we can really blame that. That was on Saturday as well. This game was Thursday night. I don't think that's really any excuse for the performance at all, if I'm honest. It's just that the players, I don't think they're really good enough. And when it comes down to it, over the course of a 38-game season, we're going to find that out. I think we've got to understand that we are going to finish probably in a mid-table position this season, because that's where we are. We are a bit more solid defensively now. We're not conceding that many goals. I say 4 clean sheets in a row is pretty good going, and no goals conceded yet in 2020. But it's up the other end of the pitch where the problems are, especially at home as well. We've got a big game now coming up, haven't we, on Monday against Newcastle, another team that's going to stick with a low block, and we're going to have to try to break them down. And unless we show a little bit more quality than we've managed to in the last couple of games, then we are really going to struggle. I say I'm a little bit concerned now about where this team is heading, and I think without some major overhaul in the transfer market over the next year or two, we're going to have to accept that. So this is where we are, and these are going to be the sort of performances that unfortunately we might have to get used to. I think Arteta's got a lot of work to do. As I say, he seems to be a very good whiteboard coach, but when it comes down to it on the pitch, I don't think that it's working. And maybe that's because he was used to the players at Man City who could take these things on board and produce them on the pitch because they had the quality. And maybe our players aren't able to do that on a consistent basis. But whatever it is, things need to change, because we're just muddling along at the moment. So we're going to be sitting around in mid-table. And that, frankly, for a club like Arsenal, is just not good enough. So that's my review there of last night's game against Crystal Palace. Obviously, very disappointing 0-0 draw. And we go again, don't we, on Monday against Newcastle. It's going to be a very similar game, I feel. We're just going to have to show a little bit more quality and a little bit more desire to finish things off when we get into the final third. Otherwise, could be another frustrating night, couldn't it, that one? Anyway, thanks for watching this channel. If you haven't done so yet, if you're new here, or if you do like what I do, you maybe haven't got around to doing it yet, please subscribe by clicking on the button down in the corner there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. And if you've got any comments at all to make about the game last night, the team selection, the performance, please drop me in the comments box as well, because I do love to hear from you guys. Coming up as well on the channel, I'll have a preview of the Newcastle game, and that'll probably be released over the weekend. And I'm hoping to get Newcastle fans back on again as well. John and Paul, of course, who was on last week, just to look ahead to that game. I might do that on Monday evening, actually, before kick-off, just to go through that and look forward to the game. And of course, I will do a review of the Newcastle game as well, probably Tuesday. So stay tuned to the channel, lots coming up. And I say, unfortunately, after a very disappointing performance last night, a very disappointing result in the end, we have to be optimistic going into Monday. So come on, you Gunners!